watching The Final Play from Fox 8 Sports.
Certainly Drew Brees' contract situation, something the Who Dat Nation is watching very closely. Doug, let's start with you. Franchise tag as a former agent, pros and cons of using that tag.
Well, the only pro is that they keep Drew Brees through next year. That's the only pro. The con is they lose it on using it on Carl Nicks. And also, too, again, it's going to stretch out the negotiation maybe to the beginning of the season. It might even stretch it out to the end of the next season if they don't agree to a contract. The big con for Drew Brees is if he does play under that one-year contract next year and he gets hurt, he's done. Whereas if he did structure a 5-year contract with maybe $40 or $50 million of guaranteed money, then he would be guaranteed that, a la Peyton Manning.
I mean, it certainly is it's a complicated negotiation. It's a negotiation that we're all watching. But something that really kind of struck me here is WIST reported that the Saints made an offer to Brees before the 2011 season to make him the highest paid player in the NFL. But at that time, Tom Condon was negotiating Brees' contract. He still had Peyton Manning's contract to do. At that time, Tom Brady was the only one that had been set. So to me, there was no reason for Tom Condon to agree to a deal when he still had 1 year left, while at the same time he's trying to set the market with Peyton Manning. Tom Condon, I mean, how much of a role is he playing in all this?
Well, I think he plays a big role when you look at his ability to be able to set the market for quarterbacks. And again, he's trying to get the best deal for not just Brees, but for Peyton as well. So, I mean, again, it is kind of disheartening when you look at what Brees has done for this community, what he did for the team, and everything we've heard from Brees that he wants to make sure that he keep this core together. To be fighting over $5 million at the end of the day, between $18 and $23 million, and then you had a chance at the beginning of the season to put this behind you and to have the richest contract in the history of the NFL. You know, it's a tough situation, and I don't know what this tells the rest of the team. I mean, how can you ask a Carl Nicks or a Marcus Colston now to take less money up front, to take less money in the first couple of years of their deal, when the leader of the team is not willing to do it?
Well, you know, and who knows who's on the inside of that negotiation, whether it's Drew Brees or Tom Condon. But obviously it was Tom Condon or Brees' side that leaked the original negotiations to ESPN. At what point in time does Brees step in here and say something? You know, because clearly we don't want an unhappy situation going into off-season workouts. Because if it drags into that and he can't participate or he holds out or what have you, it's going to look bad on him, right?
Well, I think Condon is the mouthpiece for Drew Brees. I don't think that Condon's doing anything that Drew Brees doesn't want him to do at this point. And Drew Brees is looking at what happened to Peyton Manning and how Peyton Manning has been held out to dry now. And he wants to make sure that he's got security for his family going forward in case something, God forbid, would happen where he would be injured. But at the same time, this doesn't bode well for a team now that has about $6 million to be able to work under the cap and so many key players to bring back. I really estimate that over the next couple days to weeks, we'll start to see a lot of players either getting cut or reworking their deals so they get more money under the cap.
And Doug, I saw you nod when he mentioned the Peyton Manning situation. How does that all play into the contract negotiations right now?
Well, I mean, I think it's a perfect illustration of the importance of having guaranteed money. And again, that's what you know, I'm sure that was a big sticking point, is not only the length of the contract, the size, how much of it is guaranteed. And of course, Drew Brees wants as much guaranteed money as possible, and he could see what happens if you don't. So it was very important.
Eric, are you surprised it's taking this long?
I am, especially when Larry Holder came out with the story that, again, he was offered the richest contract in the history of the NFL. I am shocked that it's taken this long, especially knowing what Drew Brees means to not just the organization, but to the city. You would have figured that he would have tried to make it a cap-friendly deal so that he can keep this core together. Look, Drew Brees has got a short time left in the NFL, and again, that window's closing for him to be able to win another championship. The hope is that obviously you can keep him here long-term and be able to win maybe one or two more. It's going to be tough if they got to tag him over the next couple years because all that money is obviously due up front.
And can the Saints afford to pay Drew Brees $23 million? I mean, let's be real. $23 million, I'm of the opinion when I look at this roster that I don't think you can keep too many other guys at $23 million right now.
I think they can afford to pay him $23 million if, again, it was structured such that the majority of the money was in a signing bonus that could be amortized over the life of the contract. To be able to come out and pay him what they're going to have to do this year is $16 million or $18 or $20 million per year against the cap. I think that's very difficult. I think, you know, again, Doug's done this in the trenches, but I think it's tough when you got all that money kind of in one player's basket, so to speak.
I read a report that said Mickey Loomis with the franchise tag is it's kind of maybe calling bluff a little bit. Is that something that's happened here?
Well, I think they made a decision very early on that they weren't going to get to a contract because they put the franchise tag on yesterday and didn't have to do it till tomorrow. And again, I think one of the things that is a delicate balance for Mickey Loomis is how do you sign Drew Brees, but still have enough money left over to sign his core players? And you know that may be mutually exclusive, and it may not happen. So I don't think Tom Condon apparently was too concerned about that, and that's a big challenge.
All right. Well, do you guys think this deal gets done this season?
No, I don't. I think it's going to linger probably till the season's over. You know, again, I think the most pressing need right now is for the Saints to be able to get some money under the cap to be able to make sure that they get the key players signed, guys like Nix, guys like Colston, and then have money left over to be able, again, to upgrade this defense. I think that's the focus now. Drew Brees is where he's at right now, at least for the short term.
Doug, do you think this deal gets done this season?
I think it's going to go through training camp, and I think it's going to. And I think at some point you're going to have Fisher cut base sometime before the first game of the season.
And last question here, you know, when I posted this on Twitter, the original report on ESPN, and then the reports about the franchise tag, immediately fans, you know, some in support of Brees, pay the guy, some calling him greedy. Does Drew Brees' reputation take a hit in this whole process?
No, I don't think it takes a hit, but I mean, again, you can't play both sides. You can't in one breath say that you're looking out for the entire team and you want to make sure you get your core players back, and then in the next breath find out that you were offered the richest contract in NFL history and be set in stone that you want $23 million a year. So again, I don't think you can play both sets of guys against the middle. Bottom line is, Drew Brees wins, Drew Brees beloved.
What do you think?
I think Drew Brees has all the leverage, and he's using it.
All right, Eric, Asher, Doug Sunseri, great work.
You're watching The Final Play from Fox 8 Sports.